So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. You back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, September 10th. Hopefully everybody's having a day so far and a good day, good rest of their day. Yesterday, it is in fact Friday, September 10th here today, coming off of another big night in sports last night as there was baseball on, and also the 2021 NFL season got kicked off last night as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Dallas Cowboys battled it out. Just an amazing game. And I'll tell you this, I said this yesterday. I said it was going to be close. I actually took the over. I predicted the winner. I predicted the Bucs were going to win. So just really was a great matchup, a great game. And, I mean, the Cowboys went out and they played really well. I mean, the Cowboys played well. The Cowboys played a good game. I mean, if, Greg Zuerlein makes those kicks, we're talking about today, we're talking about the Cowboys overcoming a 9.5-point underdog, and we're talking about them going into Tampa and beating the defending Super Bowl champion Buccaneers. But instead, today, we're talking about a Buccaneers win. And it's as simple as this. It's not because of the offense. It's not because of the defense. The defense actually played relatively well, I thought, to be honest. It was the kicker. I mean, if Greg Zuerlein makes those kicks, that's a different game. You're talking about, 4 points they missed out on? You're talking about the Cowboys winning that game by about 3. And, today we're talking about the Cowboys improving to 1-0 and the defending world champion Bucs, moving to 0-1. So it was a great game. It was awesome. I said a touchdown late was going to win it. Sure enough, a touchdown late won the game. So really just an excellent game overall there. And, just super, just really excited to have football back. It was great to watch it. I mean, sitting there watching a football game was just awesome. It was great. It was amazing. I'm super fired up for this weekend. Today's a big football podcast. So a lot to get to. Involving football, involving baseball. Yankees continue to lose. They lose again yesterday by a score of, they lose yesterday, six-game losing streak now, and they lose by a score of 6-4, I believe. I believe it was 6-4. I just want to make sure I'm not getting my 6-game losing streaks and six runs for the Blue Jays mixed up. And yet again last night, I'm in a pure example here. I mean, the Yankees, to be honest, last night, they had 9 hits. And another game where they get 9 hits. And another game where they're just not able to drive in runs. And to be honest, the bullpen didn't put them into a good situation. Heaney really blew it. And, I mean, it's just another tough pill to swallow. And the Yankees here continue to just not, are not finding ways to just not winning. We're just not playing good enough baseball. I mean, it really is. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's the same thing night in, night out. We're not playing good enough baseball. And frankly, we don't look like a team right now we have no energy. I was talking to someone yesterday about this. Like, you watch those games, and I was watching the Yankee game, and I saw the NFL game, and you watch the game, right? If you watch the Yankee game, and you look at the energy, and maybe this is just the sport and the difference in sports and all that, but if you watch the Yankees game, the energy is not there. Like, there's no energy. There's not, anybody, the crowd is dead. There's nobody at the stadium yesterday. It's like there was no energy. And then you go over to the NFL game, and I get it, NFL, different sport, first game of the season, but it's like the energy and the volume on the television just skyrockets. And I felt this way at the beginning of the season with the Yankees. Like, when you're watching on TV, they just felt flat. Like, they were just not, there was no mojo, there was no energy. And I got that feeling yesterday in the past couple games, really during this streak. And I'm not saying it's just because they're losing. I am genuinely saying it. Like, now all of a sudden, they're like, they're just, the energy's not there. And when they were on that win streak and Joey Gallo got there and all that, like, the energy was through the roof. Like, there was energy. They were playing with passion. And now it's like we're back to our old ways of not playing with passion. Doesn't look like we want to be there, and we're playing terrible baseball. So Yankees got to find a way to snap out of it because You got a big 3-game set here against the Mets. It's a Subway Series. I always say this. I don't care how bad or good you're doing. It's the Subway Series. It's for bragging rights. Obviously for New York and Yankees and Mets, it's for bragging rights. So I don't care if you're battling for a playoff, if you're out of the playoffs. It's always a big series because it's for bragging rights. It's your two rivals. It's a Subway Series. So this is a big series no matter what. And it's even a bigger series now for both the Yankees and the Mets, because they're both coming into this not playing good baseball. The Mets lose again yesterday to the Marlins, another blown lead late. You're talking about a game tonight and a game tomorrow and a game Sunday with two slumping teams. So as a Yankee fan, you can't be like, oh, we got to play the Mets now. But as a Met fan, you can't be like, oh, we got to play the Yankees, because both teams right now, to put it simple, they both stink right now. No other way to put it. So Yankees, tough loss. Mets also lose, as I just mentioned. I mean, you blow another one, and the Mets are losing, it seems like the Marlins. So at least if you want to say something about positive about the Yankees, at least it's against the Blue Jays. It's not like we're losing. I mean, we did just lose 2 out of 3 against the Orioles, but okay, maybe I should take back what I said, because we did lose 2 out of 3 against the Orioles. But I mean, the Mets are in the same boat as us. So you're talking about 2 slumping teams coming into tonight's game, and there's no upper hand on each team. I mean, I personally, if you had to look at the team, I think the Yankees are probably the better constructed. I think the Yankees are probably the better team, just because of record and overall this season. But they're not the best team in baseball, and they're not playing good. So maybe the Mets catch the Yankees at the right time right now, and maybe the Mets do go in here and take 2 out of 3. Maybe the Yankees go in here and say, hey, we got to snap out of this. We're only a half game up, I think we're a half game up now in the wild card. We got to get out of this. We got to get focused. So Yankees and Mets tonight, start up with a 3-game set, Subway Series. That should be good. Subway Series, like I said, is always fun. I said this just about a minute ago. Records aside, it's always fun. It's the Battle of New York. It's both New York baseball teams battling it out. I guess if you want to put it, it's big brother versus little brother. Big brother being the Yankees, little brother being the Mets. Big market team, little bit of a smaller market in the Mets. It's always a good matchup. And like I said, no matter what the records are, playoffs, any of that, it always just feels like it's a bigger game when it's the Subway Series. So Yankees, Mets tonight, and football over the weekend. So a lot to get to. All right, let's get to the topics, because we're already at 7 minutes here, and I got to do all my game picks and packed podcast today. All righty, so let's get to the topics for today's podcast. We got to get to the NFL game picks, so I will give you my Week 1 NFL game picks. I've known for a little bit now who I was going to pick. Training camp and all that stuff, injuries and all that do factor into my decisions. I actually do take a lot of time. I do dissect these games a pretty good amount when I'm doing my game picks. You got to look at certain position groups, who has the upper hand. You look at the quarterback, who has the better quarterback. Then you look at the offensive line, who has the better offensive line. You look at the receiving groups. I'm not gonna really deep dive into the offensive line, but the offensive line does go into my decision. So I do take a good amount of time with these game picks. I always do. And I'm going to start. I'll give you my Week 1. So these are my Week 1 picks. Last season, I went 189-90 on my picks. So I got out of all my picks, 189 of them were right, 90 were wrong. So this season, I guess if I'm aiming for it, I'm aiming for about 200 to be right. I would say I would like that to be a pretty good goal, 200 right picks, which I think would be actually pretty good. So I finished way above 500 on my game picks last season. I'm hoping for the same this year. So I'll give you my NFL game picks Week 1, and we're really going to go a little bit deeper into the Jets and the Giants games, obviously given that they're the two New York football teams. And then we'll get to fantasy football advice. You know the drill. If you've been watching the podcast for the past year, I did this all of last NFL season. It's no different this year. Give you the fantasy football advice. Just talk about lineups. Amari Cooper had a big game for me yesterday. Talk about lineups, start, sit, injury updates, all that stuff. I'll get you all ready for that. And then we'll finish off with the New York sports update. Yankees, Mets tonight, and the Jets start their season on Sunday, along with the New York Giants. Jets head to Carolina. Giants will host the Denver Broncos. I got to admit, I'm not going to reveal my game pick yet for the Jets and the Giants, but I got to admit, the Jets and the Giants are actually two games that I actually had a difficult time picking. I will admit, I had a difficult time picking the Jets and the Giants. I'm telling you that. I really did. I had a difficult time. And you might say, oh, it's easy. You might say it's not. You look at the game, it's really not. It's really not. The Jets and the Giants games Jets-Panthers was a difficult game for me to decide on, and the I was about to say the Bronconeers. The Bucks and the Broncos mixed. The Broncos-Giants, not an easy game either to decide on. The Jets-Panthers, I feel like, are even. Same boat. And the Giants-Broncos are almost in the same boat. Giants question marks on offense. Their quarterback's a little bit of a question mark with the Giants. Is Jones the guy? And same thing with the Broncos. But their defenses are very good. So very kind of tough to pick those. But I have made my decisions. So with all that being said, got a lot to get to. Let's get into it. This is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So last night's game to start things off, Buccaneers win 31-29. So they moved to 1-0 on the season, and as we all know, this is an obvious answer. The Cowboys moved to 0-1 on the season. I'm not gonna go deep into this game because I got to get to all the rest of the league. But I'll tell you what, Dak looked great, really did, and I think this was just an excellent performance by him. This was just a great game by Dak. And I think, out of all the guys that played last night, I know everyone's going to be like, oh, they won, and Tom Brady, and oh, the Buccaneers are doing this and that. I understand all that. But I think last night, the big thing to take away was the way Dak looked. And I get the Buccaneers won, and I get that. But in just in a standpoint, if you're a Cowboy fan today, sure, you're not happy that you won. I would be the same way. I wouldn't care how we played. If you don't get the win, I'm not going to be happy. Right? As a fan, I am. Any sport. So I get Cowboy fans today are going to be a little unhappy, but you gotta at least be happy the way Dak played. I mean, he threw for 403 yards. He threw the ball 58 times. So obviously the shoulder's not an issue. I was obviously wrong about that. I said that you might want to watch out. He threw the ball 58 times last night. Zeke did absolutely nothing. He carried the ball 11 times for 33 yards. So Zeke did nothing, and Prescott threw the ball 58 times, and he threw it for 403 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Brady threw 379 yards, 50 attempts, and he threw 4 touchdowns. So it was an offensive game. We were expecting that. Bucks win. I did get the pick right. So entering my game picks, which I'm going to do right now, I am currently 1-0 in week 1 and 1-0 overall in the season. So I always say that. You always want to start off ahead. So I'm starting off ahead here. I win. And then I get correct last night's game pick, so I automatically finish 1-0. That's always the big thing. Like, you always want to get the first pick right. You always want to start up on the right note. So I got last night's pick right. So with that being said, let's get into it. So I'm gonna give you my game picks. I do this I did this last year. I'm gonna do it again this year. I go through every game. I'm not a person who picks 5 games and picks from those or picks from these 3 games, or picks 5 games and an underdog to go. I'm not that. I predict every single game, and here we go. I save the Jets and the Giants for last because I go a little bit more in depth with them, just because they're both New York sports teams, and that's kind of what this channel's kind of centered around. But anyway, with all that being said, 1 game down. We got the rest of the league going this weekend. I'm going to start off here. It's in no random order. My app here has the 49ers Lions starting off. So let's get into it. My NFL game picks for week 1. All right, so we're starting off here with the San Francisco 49ers versus the Detroit Lions. The 49ers come in this game 8-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 46. This game's on 1 Eastern on Fox. This is kicking us off here for the game picks this season. As we all know, the Niners, I guess, still kind of a little bit of a question mark at quarterback. Who's it going to be? Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo? Is Trey Lance going to get in the game at all? Are they going to use him in certain packages? On the unofficial depth chart, they had Jimmy Garoppolo as starter. They really haven't announced anything officially yet, but I would tend to say that Jimmy Garoppolo is probably going to start and going to be the guy. We all know that 49ers defense is really good, and I'm nothing against their offense. I just think the receiving core is a little iffy. I like Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Question is can they stay healthy? Can they stay out there? Especially Deebo Samuel. He's been injured recently, missed most of, if all of last season. He pretty much missed most of last year. So, you got to like what you see out of the 49ers on defense. Their offense is solid. They get Kittle back. He obviously injured last season, didn't play much. When this offense is healthy, though, they are pretty solid. They aren't anything special, but they are solid. And then you look at the Detroit Lions side, and you have a new coach in Dan Campbell. Jared Goff's there. They're in a rebuild. Marvin Jones Jr. gone. Kenny Golladay gone. You do bring in some rookies, and you got TJ Hawkinson returning, and I like the running back there in DeAndre Swift. The Lions' defense still gives me issues. I think the Lions and the Cowboys are similar on defenses in terms of just weakness. Not very good in the secondary, not very good stopping the pass. And I do think, I do think the 49ers are going to win this game comfortably. I really do. I think this is one of these games where the Lions, Jared Goff, they're in a rebuild. Their roster's kind of like, they got some guys here and there. It's just not really anything set in stone put together. I think the Niners, and especially the Niners defense, I think is what's really going to get the job done. Everyone might want to talk about the offense and all that stuff. I think it's going to be the Niners defense, and I think the Niners actually win pretty convincingly. I think the Niners win 28-10, and I take the under on the over-under of 46, and I think the Niners cover the 8 points. So 49ers, I think, will win. Alrighty, next game up here, we got the Arizona Cardinals and the Tennessee Titans. Both these teams were on my top 10 power rankings yesterday, so that always makes the decision a little bit more difficult. But the Tennessee Titans come in this game 2.5-point favorites, and the Cardinals come in this game 53. The over-under for this game is 53.5, rather, and this game comes on 1 Eastern on Sunday on CBS. And I talked yesterday about the Tennessee Titans with their offense. I said this. I think this offense for the Tennessee Titans has the chance to be something special. And I said this yesterday. If the Titans can get their defense right, I think you gotta consider them top 5 team for the Super Bowl. You might think I'm crazy. If you wanna comment and say something about it, I'm more than glad to answer back. I can give you a million reasons why I think the Titans, if they can get their defense figured out, are a very, very high-rated Super Bowl contender. I don't even think they're a sleeper at this point. I don't even think they're on the outside looking in. I think they've got to be inside of that bubble if they can get their defense figured out. And these two teams, the Cardinals and the Titans, this is why this was actually a little bit of a tough game to pick. The Titans, their strengths, their offense. Weaknesses, their defense, like I just talked about. Same thing with the Cardinals. Now, with the Cardinals, I feel like they can get their defense probably solved a little bit earlier than the Titans, and I'll tell you why. Because the Cardinals already have pieces in place. It's just a matter of those pieces in place developing and turning into what they expected. We all know Budda Baker's solid, but Isaiah Simmons last season, they did not utilize him in the way they could. If they utilize him more in a utility role, let him edge rush, let him pass rush, let him be in zone, let him be a safety, let him be a linebacker, like he was in Clemson, where he's more of a hybrid. That's what the Cardinals got to do. I like the Cardinals offense a lot. I like the Titans a lot. I think this is going to be a shootout. I think this is going to be 38-35. I think the Titans squeak it out late with a field goal. I think the Titans win 38-35. I take the over by a mile. And I think the Titans cover, just barely cover, the 2.5 points. Give me the Titans. All right, this was by far the toughest game to pick. I'm not even going to lie. This was the toughest game for me to decide on. I actually went back and forth with this game about 5 separate times. It's so difficult. This is such a difficult game. Washington versus the Chargers. Washington comes into this game 1.5-point favorites, and the over-under is set at 45.5. And this game comes on 1 Eastern as well on CBS. I talked about this yesterday about Washington, and I said the same thing about the Chargers. I think Washington and the Chargers could be both right on the outside looking in of being a top 12, top 15, top 10 even team in the league. I've always said that. I'm a big believer in Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert's actually only going to have a better year this year. I think you got to consider Herbert as a dark horse offensive player of the year MVP candidate. I really do. Look at the pieces around him. He's got the guys around him. He's got the pieces. He's got the coaching staff. He's in the right position there in Los Angeles. And he is in a right position over there. And Herbert, we all know what he's capable of. We saw him last season. And the Washington, on the other hand, this is the thing about Washington. Everything on Washington is good. Their offensive line is solid. 2 really underrated and really good receivers. I think Curtis Samuel's extremely underrated. I think Terry McLaurin's up there in the league that not many people talk about. And Antonio Gibson, who I think could turn into a top 7, top 5 running back after this season. is over, I think people might put him into that conversation. The only question is, and Washington has the potential to be a top 3, even the best defense in the NFL. They have the potential. I'm not saying they're there yet. They're probably top 5 now, but they have a potential to get in there top 2, top 1, and be the best. So what separates this game, I think, is defense late. And I like the Chargers a lot. I like them with Herbert. Keenan Allen and all that stuff. I like that. That they've got something special working there. And I do believe the Chargers last season, a team who struggled to hold on to games late, lost a lot of games late. You look at that Chargers schedule last season, they weren't getting blown out. They weren't losing by a ton. Yes, they were still losses, but they were late. And if the Chargers can find a way to hold on, I do think they'll win this game. But I think the Washington finds a way to win. I think Fitzmagic is going to cook up some of that magic that he's got, where he plays a couple really good weeks. And I just think Washington's defense late prevails in this game. I think it could come down to the final drive, a minute left. Herbert gets the ball on their own 40-yard line. And maybe it's a 5-point game or something, or 4-point game or whatever, a touchdown game, and Herbert's got to find a way to get 60 yards, and the Washington defense makes a big stand. I could see something like that. If Washington didn't have the defense they had, I would probably give the Chargers the win here. But with Washington's defense, and their offense is solid as well, give me Washington. I think it's going to be relatively lower scoring. 21-17, the Washington football team will beat the Chargers. That's my prediction there. I'm taking the under on the over-under of 45, and I think Washington will just barely cover that 1.5. Give me Washington. Alrighty, then we got the Falcons and the Eagles. Falcons coming in this game 3.5 point favorites. Eagles coming in this game, obviously 3.5 point underdogs. The over-under for this game is set at 48.5. This game as well comes on at 1 Eastern on Fox. All these games are on 1 Eastern, then 4 Eastern, and then we finish off with the Sunday night game. And we all know how the Eagles are. We all know how the Falcons are. Two teams that are in a little bit of an interesting situation in terms of, competitiveness. The Eagles are going through a rebuild. A lot of people believe they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league this season. There's questions marks at the, line position, question marks, still a little bit of question marks in that receiving core. Outside of Devontae Smith, you have guys. It's just is Arcega-Whiteside really the answer? Is Jalen Reagor really what they expected him to be? They reached for him a little bit in last year's draft. And then you take Devontae Smith. They have a lot of talent in that receiving core, but talent that's got to prove itself. And until we see otherwise, right now that talent is just a bunch of young talent. And you got to give Devontae Smith a chance, obviously. The guy hasn't played one snap, but there's just a lot of unknowns on the Eagles side of the ball. Jalen Hurts is good. I think he is. I like Miles Sanders a lot, but the offensive line's a little bit of an issue. The receiving core's got young talent, but is it going to be able to fit in that system and really work out? The defense has got some holes. Secondary isn't great. It's not bad, but it's kind of could be improved. Eagles as a whole could be improved. And I've said this entire offseason. I actually like what the Falcons have got going. I like their offense. I think Calvin Ridley's really good. I think he'll fit. I think he will do the best, and I think he's the best option to try to fill Julio Jones' shoes as the number one receiver now that Julio's in Tennessee. I like Kyle Pitts a lot. I truly believe he's one of the most athletic tight ends we've ever seen come out of the draft. Matt Ryan, I've said this. I still believe he's got it in him. You got to hope that Mike Davis gets the job done. I mean, he's the running back there. He had a couple good weeks last week as the backup to Christian McCaffrey in Carolina. Played the majority of the season because McCaffrey only played 3 weeks. I like the Falcons' offense a lot. Defense isn't great. I think they would be enough, though. I think the Falcons win this game. I really do. I know their defense is a little bit of an issue, and I know that their defense has many holes, and it's up there with Detroit and Dallas in terms of just having bad years last year, but I think you got to give the Falcons the win here. I just don't know if I trust the Eagles team as a whole enough to hold off the Falcons. Give me the Falcons. I think they win 24-10 or 24-10. I don't think it's going to be crazy high scoring. 24-10, I think they cover. And, give me that. Give me them. 24-10, and I will take the under on the over-under of 48.5, and I think the Falcons cover pretty easily. All right, next up here, we got the Jaguars and the Texans. So Jaguars come in this game 3.5 point favorites. And the Texans come in this game 3.5 underdogs. Over-under is 46. This game goes on 1 Eastern on CBS. I've talked to this all offseason. I mean, the Texans are not a good football team. They aren't. Trevor Lawrence making his debut. I don't really believe the Jaguars are going to have a great year. I don't trust Urban Meyer. I don't think he's the answer over there. But neither do I trust Tyrod Taylor and that dysfunctional Texans team right now. I mean, who are the Texans? I mean, who did the Texans got on their roster? I mean, they literally got nobody. I mean, that roster, I think, has a chance of being a 2-win team this season. I mean, I watched a 2-win team last year with my own eyes. The Jets won 2 games last season, as we all know. I just feel like this Texans team has all the makings of winning 2-3 games this year. Even as much as I'm finicky on the Jaguars and I'm finicky on what Urban Meyer's got going over there, I think the Jaguars win this game pretty comfortably. I really do. I mean, unless the Texans start the season 4-2 and Tyrod Taylor looks like a Pro Bowler, I'm not gonna buy in. I'm not gonna believe in this Texans team at all. Unless if they win some football games, because going into this season, their roster and their overall just situation there, I think, is probably the worst in the NFL. I think, the Eagles as well are probably bad. The Texans, I think, are entering the season worst team in the league. So I think, even though Jaguars coming off a 1-15 season, give me the Jaguars. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a low scoring game. Give me the Jaguars 17-7. It's gonna be low scoring. I think a lot of the teams with new quarterback stuff is gonna be low scoring because you're gonna have to work out some of the roster early. So I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. Jaguars 17-7. They get the win. They cover. And the over-under 46, and I think the Jaguars cover as well. Give me the Jaguars. Until the Texans prove otherwise, and nothing against the Texans. Not that I don't like the Texans. They're just not good. I mean, look at their roster. They have nobody. And not trying to wish on an injury, but let's say Tyrod Taylor goes down. Who's your quarterback? Who's going to be your guy that's going to go out there? Like, they just don't have a good team. They don't have depth. They don't have good starters. Their coaching staff's in an interesting situation. Their front office is odd. They got the Deshaun Watson saga going on. Their fan base is split on, do we want Watson or not? It's just a bad situation in Houston. It really is. Give me the Jaguars. All right, and then we got the Seahawks, Colts. Seahawks come in this game 2.5 point favorites. And the over-under is not, looks like, yet settled. It looks like the over-under is not yet posted. But the Seahawks do come in this game 2.5 point favorites. There is no over-under yet. This game goes on today, 1 Eastern on Fox, or Sunday, 1 Eastern on Fox. I talked about this yesterday with the Seahawks. I like their offense a lot. How can you not? I like Tyler Lockett. I think DK Metcalf's good. I think Russell Wilson's good. He does have moments throughout the year where he really struggles. He'll have a span of 3-4 weeks every season, it seems, where he just does not look like a good quarterback. And I do believe that, I understand where people are coming from. Carson Wentz, with all the foot surgery and all that stuff, he is going to start week 1. Pretty crazy to think that. I understand with all these people saying, how good the Colts defense is and this and that. And, I'll tell you what, this is something I really believe about the Seahawks. And I mentioned this yesterday when I was talking about my power rankings. Something I really like about the Seahawks, because I like the Colts defense as a whole. Another top 5 defense. A lot of the big defenses are going to be on display against a lot of really good offenses. So, I like the Colts defense. Their offense I'm still finicky with. Because let's be honest here. Okay, Carson Wentz is, okay, he's shown us some stuff, but are we going to get Carson Wentz early in his career where he looked like the mobile and athletic guy? Or are we going to get Carson Wentz towards the tail end in Philly where he was trying to be a pocket passer, he was turning the ball over too much, he would panic and make bad throws when the pocket collapsed. Like, until I see Carson Wentz make the right decision, make the right reads, I just don't know if I could fully trust this Colts team to knock off a team the level of Seattle. Yeah, I get it, Seattle's defense isn't great, but there's just a little bit too many questions surrounding this Colts offense for me to feel confident to give them a win. And for that reason, I think the Seahawks are winning. I think it's going to be close, though, because I like the Colts defense, and I could see them forcing some turnovers on Seattle. Whether that's a fumble, whether that's an interception, I could very well see it. This Colts defense is extremely underrated. Colts not a big-name team, small market. Defense very underrated. And I think the Seahawks offense, though, is just a tad bit better. Not a tad bit. A lot better than the Colts. And I just think the Colts, like I said, new quarterback. He missed a lot of the offseason. I just think there's going to be a little bit of rustiness. I think the Seahawks are going to win this game. I think it's going to be relatively lower scoring because, let's be honest here, Colts got a good D. 21-14, give me the Seahawks. I think they cover. I think they win by a touchdown. Give me the Seahawks to win. Alrighty, next up here, we got the Vikings and the Bengals. So Vikings come in this game 3-point favorites. Bengals come in this game 3-point underdogs, as obviously. And the over-under for this game is set at 47. And the big storyline in this game is Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, and that Bengals offense versus a Vikings offense who we're all watching to see if Justin Jefferson can have another big season. We're watching to see what Adam Thielen can do. Is Dalvin Cook just going to be Dalvin Cook and just run for 500 yards, it seems, every single game? How is Kirk Cousins going to look? He's a year older now. He's getting towards the tail end of his career. He's been throughout his whole career. There's so many questions, and the Vikings offense is good, and the Vikings defense is good. And the Bengals, the big storyline now is Joe Burrow. And I know how Joe Burrow played last season. I understand. But in a way, I feel like this is like Joe Burrow's first game. Because last year, let's be honest, he played only a couple games. So I do think there's going to be some rust early. He was a little limited throughout the offseason. I think there's going to be some rust early. I'm going to tell you this, straight up. Okay? I don't trust this Bengals offensive line. I really don't. That is why I did not think about drafting really Joe Mixon in any of my leagues. I mean, I thought about it, but it wasn't really completely on my radar screen because Joe Mixon's got a terrible offensive line. And Joe Burrow's got a terrible offensive line. And he's got a lot of good receivers that are deep ball. Jamar Chase, deep ball threat. T. Higgins, deep ball threat. Tyler Boyd, he can kind of be neutral. But in order for the guys to get really open, Burrow's got to have time. I don't trust this Bengals offense line. I really don't. And I understand why you could say, oh, well, the offensive line can't tell you the entire game. Well, right here, I don't believe this. I don't trust this offensive line enough. If this offensive line was good, the defense isn't. I mean, the defense, it is what it is. But this offense has serious potential. I just don't trust the offensive line. They did absolutely nothing to address it this offseason either. They did nothing to address it. As much as I like Jamar Chase and I think he's a good receiver, that's not what they needed over there. They needed an offensive lineman. They passed up on one. I don't trust the offensive line. I like this Vikings defensive front. Give me the Vikings pretty comfortably. I think it's going to be relatively higher scoring because neither defense is overpowering. I mean, the Vikings got a pretty good defense, but it's not up there with the Rams and Bucks and, Steelers and Colts and all them, but they got a pretty good defense, and Washington and all them. They got a pretty good defense. Give me the Vikings 31-21. I'm going to take the over-under 47, and I think the Vikings will win this one pretty comfortably. Maybe the Bengals will maybe make a little push late. Maybe it'll be like 31-24, and maybe they'll score a touchdown and get the ball back and make it interesting. But I think the Vikings are going to win this one. I think it's going to be pretty comfortable. Give me the Vikings. We'll get to the Giants and Broncos in a little bit. Then we got the Chiefs and the Browns. Chiefs come in this game 5.5-point favorites. The over-under is set at 54.5. This game goes on today, 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS. I talked about yesterday in my power rankings. I think the Chiefs are the number one team in the power rankings. That's where I put them. I do like the Browns, so I'm going to tell you what. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. But I like the Browns a lot. I like their defense. I like their offense. I know there's some people still questioning Baker Mayfield, and I guess I kind of somewhat land into that boat. But I will tell you this about Baker Mayfield. I will say this. Baker Mayfield had a very good year last year. So if you don't trust him and you don't believe he's the guy, look at last season's numbers. Because if you saw last season's numbers, they were really solid. And Kevin Stefanski, I'm always iffy about the receiving core over there with Beckham and Landry. I'm just not a huge fan. I just don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Beckham, and now the torn ACL. I'm just not. I'm kind of like, I'm just not. I'm not really a huge fan of Beckham. And Landry's not bad. It's just, he's Landry. I mean, he's a little older now. He's out of his prime. But I like that offense a lot in Cleveland. I do. And I like the defense a lot. But let's be honest here. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. I still believe is the best offense in the league. Their defense from a couple years ago really improved. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Tyreek Hill. It's Travis Kelce. Good offensive line. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, I still believe, is the best quarterback in the NFL. And, I mean, beating him on week one, beating him is not easy. I think the Browns are going to win this game. The Chiefs are going to win this game. I don't think they cover, though. I will tell you that. I think it's 24-21. I don't think they cover the 5.5. I would give the Browns the points, but I give the Chiefs the win, 24-21. And I will take the under on the over-under of 54.5. Chiefs win. They do not cover, though, but I think they will win. All right, so 3 more games left here. Then we'll get to the Jets and the Giants. We got the Patriots and the Dolphins. Patriots come in this game 3.5-point favorites. Dolphins come in this game. Come into this game, obviously, underdogs here. The over/under is 43.5. And this game goes on 4:25 p.m. Eastern on CBS. We all know about a week or two ago the shocking move that the Patriots released Cam Newton. Really surprising move. I mean, a move that I don't think anyone really saw coming. I did not see it coming. I don't think many NFL fans saw it coming. If you did, that was a pretty wild prediction. It was the right prediction. I did not see Cam Newton getting cut. This will be Mac Jones' first start. And you know how I feel about rookie quarterbacks making their first start. I said this about anyone. I'll even say it about the Jets. I mean, there's always going to be a little bit of rust with any start. And this Dolphins defense is just so good. It really is. I mean, it is a really good defense led over there by Brian Flores, and it really is. And I don't care if there's questions around Tua or is this receiving core good enough. This defense by Miami is really solid. I think Miami wins this game. I'm not saying New England's going to have a bad year, but I will tell you this about New England. I think all this hype of, New England's going to be this great this season and do all this, I don't buy into all that. I really don't. I don't buy into that. I will say this, though. I mean, I just don't buy into that hype. I think they're going to be solid, but are they going to win the AFC East? Are they going to be up there in the AFC? I really don't. I think they're a third-place team, probably. So give me the Dolphins here. I think the Dolphins win this game. I really do. I think the Dolphins win this game pretty convincingly as well. Give me the Dolphins 21-10. 21-10 Dolphins. Take the under on the over-under of 43.5, and I think the Dolphins win pretty, not by a major margin, but I do think the Dolphins win. All right, I forgot, by the way, I just looking here, I forgot to reveal another game here. So there's a 1 o'clock game that I forgot to do. Bills-Steelers. I knew I was missing something. I was talking about the AFC East, and I was thinking, okay, I said the Patriots were going to finish third, and I said the Dolphins were going to finish second. And then the Bills popped in my head. I'm like, I don't think I've done that. So I don't think I've done the Bills pick yet. If I did, I apologize if I'm doing it again. But I don't think I've done the Bills pick yet. But either way, here's the Bills pick. So Bills come in this game 6.5-point favorites. The Steelers underdogs. And the over/under is 48.5 for this game. This game goes on 1 Eastern on CBS as well. I'll be a little shorter with this one. I think the Bills win this game. I like Josh Allen. I like what they got going there. And I've said this many times. Everyone's always like, "Oh, that Josh Allen's a one-year wonder." No, he's not a one-year wonder. That's what happens when you give a guy a number one receiver. They gave him Stephon Diggs, and look what he did. I understand the Steelers' defense is really good. I understand they gave Watt an extension, and he'll be out there. But the Bills' just offense, they're a Super Bowl contender. I mean, they're just not. It's not going to be easy. Give me the Bills. 31-17. Bills win. The under on the over/under 48.5, and I think the Bills cover the 6.5 points. All right, so 2 more games here. We got the Packers and the Saints. Packers come in this game 3.5-point favorites. Saints come in this game 3.5-point underdogs. I don't know why I keep saying that. We all know that they're underdogs. The over/under for this game is set at 49.5. This game goes on Sunday, 4:25 Eastern on Fox. I've said this many times this offseason. I've said a lot this offseason. I have. The offseason's a long time. Since the Super Bowl ended and everything else played out. Not that I don't believe the Saints are going to have a bad year. I don't think they're going to have a bad year. I mean, they're not going to be terrible. Do I think they're going to be a playoff team? Well, that's a different story for a different day. Here's my thing with the Saints. Without Drew Brees, I just don't know what they can be. There's just too much. There's just a big question mark. There's a question mark on the receiving core, question mark at the quarterback position. Offensive line's good, defense is good, running back's good, but 2 of the big positions on the field outside of the offensive line, receiver and quarterback, are a question mark. I mean, if Winston is like he was in Tampa and he's turning the ball over a ton, I just can't with this Saints team and what's going to happen with Michael Thomas and all that stuff. And we all know what's going on there in Green Bay. It's that kind of final big run and Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and all that stuff. Like, I just think in terms of what's going. I just think in terms of overall. Packers, Saints. I just think the Packers are the better team. I just think they are. Now, we're talking last season, different story. But I just think the Packers are the better team. I really do. And disagree all you want. I think it's pretty obvious that the Packers are the better team. Better quarterback, better receiving core. Running back's probably not better, but it's not far off. Better offensive line probably, and they got a pretty solid defense. So give me the Packers, and I think the Packers win pretty convincingly, 31-14. I'll take the under on the over-under 49.5, and I think the Packers cover. Alrighty, final game here, then we'll get to the Jets and the Giants. We're already at 40 minutes here, then we'll get to fantasy football and wrap it up. Alrighty, so Rams-Bears will cap off the first Sunday of the NFL season. Rams come into this game 8-point favorites. Bears come into this game. The over-under is 46.5. I don't know why I keep saying that. With them coming in 8-point underdogs, but Bears are the underdogs, and the over/under is 46.5. This game 8:20 Eastern, Sunday Night Football on NBC. It will cap off the big week in the first big week of the NFL season, and this will cap it all off. As I talked about yesterday, this is what I say about the Bears. Okay, I'm not against I'm not against. I mean this actually. I mean this for the Rams rather. I'm not against the whole Matthew Stafford thing. I'm not. I mean, Goff was good. He wasn't anything special. But I think all these people that are saying, "Oh, Goff's gonna do this and Goff's gonna do that and this and that and Goff this and all that," or not Goff, Stafford rather. I just don't know if Stafford's going to be why this team gets to big places, or if this team does get to a big place. I don't really think it's going to be because of Stafford. I think it's going to be because of his defense. And I know Andy Dalton's probably going to play, but if Justin Fields does get snaps, I mean, lining up across from Aaron Donald's a pretty scary thing for a rookie quarterback. Because I do think they will implement Justin Fields on some different type of plays. But I think the Rams win this game, and I think they win it on their defense. I think they get some turnovers, some big stops. Give me the Rams. I think they win this game. Rams win, I think 21-7. I just think the Bears have a little bit of a tough day on offense. I'll take the under on the over-under 46.5, and then the Bears cover the 8 points, or the Rams rather. The Rams cover the 8 points, and I think the Rams win this game. I get what the Bears got going there. The defense is just so good. I don't think it's so much Stafford and all that. It's the defense. It's the defense that it's the defense is why I think the Rams are going to be a really solid team again this year. Simple as that. That's what I think. So these are my picks again: 49ers, Titans, Washington, Falcons, Jaguars, Seahawks, Bills, Vikings, Chiefs, Dolphins, Packers, and the Rams. All right, so let's get to the Jets and the Giants here. So we'll start off with the Giants. So the Giants play the Broncos home. Broncos come into the game 3-point favorites. And the Giants are underdogs at home. The over-under for this game is set at 42. And this comes on at 4:25 Eastern on Fox. Here's my thing with the Giants. I'll tell you this. And I said it throughout the offseason. I'm going to say it again today. These Giants and Broncos are very similar teams in the way they're constructed. I'll tell you why. Their defense is very good. Broncos got a very good defense. Giants got a very good defense. Okay? Very good. Both very good defenses. You can't take that away from them. Their offense, on the other hand, not so much is the offense a question for the Broncos. It's more so the quarterback. Because, okay, Teddy Bridgewater's experienced, but is Teddy Bridgewater really going to be able to go out there and win you 8 to 10 games this season? Or is he going to be an average quarterback and win you 6 or 7? Because Teddy Bridgewater last season was an average quarterback and got the Panthers some wins. He didn't go out there and win them 11 games and got them to the playoffs. So what are you going to get out of Teddy Bridgewater? Are you going to get Teddy Bridgewater where he's average, or are you going to get a little bit above average Teddy Bridgewater where he will be able to make some plays, not only with his arm, but using his legs? And you look at the Giants, and it's like, we got a very good defense. And everyone keeps talking about the defense. Yeah, that's great. But Daniel Jones, is he the quarterback? Is Kenny Golladay and Jones going to hook up early? Is Kadarius Toney, what is he going to look like? I mean, this is a Giants offense that barely practice together throughout the entire training camp and offseason due to injuries and just due to practice and all that stuff. They barely practice together. And Saquon Barkley as well. So I just think this, and this is not against the Giants at all. Okay, this isn't. Because this is a game that was tough to pick. This isn't against the Giants at all. This isn't because this isn't anything against the Giants. But I'm going to tell you this about the Giants. Like, I just think I feel a little bit more confident with Denver in terms of their defense and in terms of their offense. And I'm going to tell you why. Their offense is all practiced together. I like their receiving core, Cortland Sutton, Hamler, Judy, and then you add Noah Fant to that. The Giants, okay, they got Golladay and they got Toney and all that. That's great. Good for them. But okay, they barely practice together. Are they going to, how smooth is this going to go against a good defense with a secondary that's no joke? They might struggle early, and if they put themselves in too deep of a hole, Teddy Bridgewater, as much as I thought they would start Drew Lock, and I thought they should, he's not a bad quarterback. He's just not what he once was. So, I'll say this. Both these defenses are very good. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And I think in terms of the Giants, I just think their offense has too many questions. And if you're a Giant fan today and you're asking what questions, well, your offensive line's terrible. You can't say, got to give them time to develop. Look at the practice reports. They've looked terrible throughout the offseason. Your quarterback is still a question. Your receivers are good, but it's a matter of if they can get chemistry with the quarterback, and they barely practice, so are they even going to be able to connect? And yeah, Barkley's very good, but he's coming off a torn ACL, so what is his role going to be? And your tight end, Evan Ingram's going to be out, Kyle Rudolph's going to be in. How does Kyle Rudolph fit into the system? So there's just too many questions for the Giants. I'll tell you this about the Broncos. I don't really think there's many questions on the offense as much as their quarterback's just a question. There's no real questions at tight end. It's Noah Fant. Offensive line's solid. The receiving core, I think, is very solid. The running back, I guess, it's split time. It's not really a question. It's just, maybe their running back's a little bit of a question with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, but it's not bad. The Giants, on the other hand, receiving core, offensive line, question mark. Quarterback, question mark. Tight end, I think Kyle Rudolph will be solid, but just how does Daniel Jones find a way to get all the how does Daniel Jones, it's almost like they're going to be learning on the fly tomorrow. And against a good defense, I just don't think so. So I think the Broncos are going to win this game. I do. I think it's going to be low scoring. 21-17, Giants win, or Broncos win rather. And I just think the Broncos maybe with a late touchdown or something like that, because I just don't know how I feel about this Giants roster in terms of offense. I know they went out and got Golladay and drafted Toney, but their offensive line, their quarterback, Barkley, yeah, he's coming back, but what is his role going to be? Just too many questions week one for me to feel confident going in. So now, I'm not saying the Broncos are perfect, but there's situations, I think, a little bit less confusing and questioning than the Giants. Game of the Broncos. 21-17. I take the under on the over-under of 42. I think it's going to be defensive game. Two very good defenses. And I think the Broncos will win. All right, now time for the Jets. So, Jets-Panthers, 1 o'clock Eastern on Sunday. CBS network. So, CBS will have, or not CBS network, but CBS will have this game. The injury report for the Jets, I didn't see it for the Giants, but the injury report for the Jets is LaMichael Pirine foot. He's questionable. Keelan Cole knee is out. I don't know if that's any new update. Robert Saleh said it was going to be a game-time decision, so I don't really see why they marked him out. I know Crowder's out because of COVID, and then Sherrard Neesum's hamstring is also out. He had an injury there. So Keelan Cole's a game-time decision. LaMichael Pirine questionable. Crowder's out, and Crowder and Cole are the two big ones on the injury report. Cole's a game-time decision, and Smith's shoulder's out for the Panthers. So Yeah, the Jets as much as we've suffered a lot of injuries throughout training camp, going into week 1, it's actually relatively clean. It's not really filled up with much. It's not like 3 of our receivers are on there. Keelan Cole still a game-time decision. I guess we'll see whatever happens to him. But either way, Jets come in this game the Panthers come in this game 4-point favorites. The over/under for this game is set at 44.5. And Zach Wilson's first game. That's the storyline. The storyline of this game is not so much Jets-Panthers, but it's Zach Wilson, Sam Darnold's, I guess, revenge game, if you want to call it that, and Wilson's debut. This is Wilson's first opportunity. I know he did it a little bit in preseason, but this game actually counts here. This is Wilson's first opportunity to show not just the Jets and the fan base and the organization that he was the right guy, but to show the entire NFL that he's the right guy and he could be special. And I get it, it's week 1. So, after this week, he's still got 16 more games to go. And, no matter how he does week 1, you can't judge it too much. If he has a great week, you can't say, he's going to win MVP just because he has one great week. He's got to do it, consistently throughout the regular season. So I think there's actually going to be a lot to take from this game. Win or lose, I think there's going to be a lot to take from this game in terms of just how the rookies play, in terms of just how, the receivers play, and Wilson to the receivers and the offensive line, and, the running backs, who's going to get the most snaps or running back. That's been a little bit of a, kind of a question going into the season. But the big thing is Wilson. And as a Jet fan, I just want to see what Wilson looks like out there in live game action. This is game actually counts. So all that preseason, and all that stuff, all that build up, this finally counts, and this is, really it. This counts. This is going to when the clocks hit, when there's triple zeros on that clock and it marks final. You're gonna have a record, and you're gonna have to go in. You're gonna have to get ready for week 2 after that. So this is a game that counts. This is big. I'm super excited. I'll tell you what, as a Jet fan, I'm not scared of Carolina. I'm really not. I'll tell you why. Okay. So they got Sam Darnold. I think he'll do well there, but it's his first game. It's almost like he's a rookie again. First game, new system, third system in 4 years, because that's just how he is. Okay, it's his first game as well. The receiving core is solid, but it's not like anything crazy. It's good. It's DJ Moore. You do have Terrace Marshall, rookie, and then you got Robbie Anderson against a young secondary, so I will give the advantage there to Carolina. I do think the Jets' offense line, due to some injuries on the Carolina's front, on the offense line, I do think the Jets' offense line is probably better than that. And the running back is CMC, very good. I'm not totally scared of Darnold. Until Darnold proves me otherwise, I'm not totally scared of him. They do have Darnold, and I do think he's a good quarterback. I do think he's going to have a good year there, but I just think in terms of just the Jets here and what they bring to the table on defense, and I say this, my big worry going into this game is actually, shockingly, it's not the offense. Because usually it's the offense. But my big worry is the secondary. Can the secondary at least be competitive? Because the last thing you need, the last thing the Jets fan base and organization needs, is if you have a defense and you have a secondary that can't get off the field on third downs. That's my big thing, is can the Jets get off the field on third down? Especially the close 3rd down and 3s, 3rd down and 2s, especially those really close down and distances where they might go for a short route and you're going to have to play really close and physical man. And, rookies are going to have to learn that, you got to be physical in this league in order to succeed. Those are the big ones. 3rd down and 9, 10s, and so on and so forth. That stuff's not, it's not easy, but that stuff's, you're going to have a higher probability of stopping that. It's when it gets down to 3rd down and 2s, 3rd down and 3s, defense needs to get off the field, big play. That's really what it matters. So if the Jets can get off the field on 3rd down, I think we win this game. I do. Because our offense I like. And is the Panthers' defense really that good? Not really. Their defensive front's improved with some young talent, but is their defense really that good? Not really. It's not anything special. It's not bad, but it's not like we're going against a top 5 defense in the league here. If the Jets secondary and Wilson looks comfortable early, I think we can win. And that's not asking for everything to go our way. I think this game could go down to, if the ball bounces a different way, it could be a different, if the ball bounces a certain way, I think that's how this game's going to go. It's going to be close. It's going to be physical. I think it's going to be low scoring. Darnold in a new system, new quarterback there. Wilson playing his first game. It's going to be, I think, close because, both offenses are, right now, I would say, example, are work in progress. New quarterback for the Jets, new receiving core. I understand you got preseason and all that, but this is the real deal now. It's a little different. So, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I really do. And as crazy as it sounds, now last season, if you think that I always just give them a win on week 1, that's not the case. Because last season, I actually did predict the Bills to beat the Jets week 1. I did. I did say that. Last season, I did say that. So if anyone's watching this and thinking that I just picked the Jets every week and every season to win, that's not the truth. Not week 1, definitely. Last season, I picked the Bills to beat the Jets week 1. But this season, a little different. The intensity and the optimism around this team, Wilson, this receiving core. I've liked what I saw this offseason. I like what I've seen in the preseason. I'm optimistic. I actually think the Jets go into Carolina and win this game. I do. And that's coming from a fan that last season predicted the Jets to win 0 games. Again, you can go back and watch all those videos. I did not think the Jets were going to win I predicted the Jets to lose every single game last season. I was right 14 of those 16 times. So I actually think the Jets are actually going to win this game. I do. I think they're going to win. Call me crazy. Say it's wild. But I think the Jets are going to win. And if you actually look at the numbers, as crazy as it sounds, 58% of people think the Jets are going to win this game. So actually, more people think the Jets are going to win than the Panthers. The atmosphere, just the overall feel of this team's different, and the optimism. I've liked what I've seen out of Wilson. I'm concerned on the secondary, but you just gotta hope it somehow works out. This team's young, but everyone's acting like Carolina's got the greatest roster ever. They really don't. Look at it. It's not that. I'm not saying the Jets either do. Like, the Jets and Carolina are very close. They're very even. No team's crazy better than the other. And I think the Jets are actually going to win this game, and I think Wilson's going to have a really solid game. Give me the Jets. I think it's going to be low scoring. 17-14, I think the Jets are going to win. Take the under on the over-under, 44.5. And I think the Jets are going to be 1-0. I do. I think the Jets are going to win this game. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think the Jets are going to win this game. I do. I really do. I'm just very confident that they're going to win this game. I just think there's a really good chance. So, give me the Jets. I don't usually say that, but I think the Jets are going to win this game. I do. I think Wilson, defense, going to be big factors, and give me the Jets. All right, so that closes out the game pick for week 1. So I have the Jets winning, 49ers winning, Titans winning, Washington winning, Falcons winning, Jaguars winning, Seahawks winning, Bills winning, Vikings winning, Broncos winning, Chiefs winning, Dolphins winning, Packers winning, and the Rams winning. And then we'll preview the Ravens-Raiders game on Monday. Ravens, a lot of injuries over there. Yes, I think the Jets are going to win. Go Jets. Alrighty, so let's get to the fantasy update. For the fantasy update here. So we're gonna get to fantasy next here. Alrighty, so fantasy football right now, both leagues, as I mentioned yesterday, I had Amari Cooper in both leagues. So my one league I had Amari Cooper. One league I have it's a PPR league, and the other league it is a PPR league, and the other league's just a regular league. So in my regular league, just normal, no points per reception, just normal head-to-head scoring. Amari Cooper got me 25 points, 13 catches for 139 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So big game for him. And I'm projected now to win. I'm projected to have 118 points. My opponent's projected to have 112, and I'm projected now to win. I have 53% chance now of winning. So I'm currently winning 25-0 in that league. And in my other league, I also had Amari Cooper going, and I have a 57% chance to win, and I'm now projected to have 144 points. Amari Cooper got me 38.9 in my other league, 13 catches, 139 yards, and 2 touchdowns, like I mentioned earlier. So definitely PPR league a little different. My opponent had Dak, he got him 33. So right now I'm winning 25-0 in my one league, and my other PPR league, I'm winning 38-33. So both leagues right now off to good starts. Now it is one game out of many to go this weekend and out of many to go this entire season. So things could definitely change, and I'm expecting, a lot of different scoring and all that stuff, in terms of all that. But, luckily I always say this, like Thursday night, I like the Thursday night games, and it's always nice when you have good, it is nice to have a player going on Thursday night. But, I don't like to have too many players, because if you have like 5 players going Thursday night and you have like 80 points or 60 points, you're more than likely probably going to lose, because he's still got his whole, your opponent can still have your whole team. So I like the fact that I had one player. He got me 25 points in one league and 38 in the other. So Amari Cooper did everything I asked him to. I mean, I wanted Amari Cooper to have a good game, to be honest, and honestly, he had an insane game. I would not have projected him to have 139 yards and 2 touchdowns, especially against that Bucs defense. Now, in all fairness to the Bucs, they did lose Sean Murphy bunting to a little bit of a pretty ugly injury to his arm. But, Amari Cooper still had a great game. And so I'm winning in both leagues right now. As it stands, I'm winning in both leagues. Now, in my PPR league, this is who I've got going week 1. I got Ryan Tannehill, Alvin Kamara, Chris Carson, A.J. Brown, Adam Thielen, Robert Tonyan. Amari Cooper's already played, Ravens defense, and Tyler Bass. So that's my roster in my PPR league. Now, I haven't changed anything. I'm not probably going to change anything. Usually the team I draft in the starting lineup I have, that's who's in there week 1. And after week 1, that's when you can start making different moves and acquisitions and, starting this guy and all that different stuff. So that's that. Now, interesting. Curtis Samuel got put on the IR. Oh, wow. So we just got an update here. So Curtis Samuel was put on IR. So the team hopes to have Samuel back when first eligible week 4. Lovely. Right after I did my game picks, too. I would probably still say Washington win, because Curtis Samuel's not the greatest thing since sliced bread. But so Curtis Samuel's on my IR. Now I gotta make that move. So right now I have Curtis Samuel, Tyler Boyd, Trey Sermon, J.D. McKissick, Marvin Jones Jr., Jamison Crowder, and Booker. So Crowder's out and Curtis Samuel's on IR. So that is that's not good. So I will have to make a move there. But so if your flex is, like I said, I think if you got your normal lineup, I've always said this, when week 1 you just got to start usually your normal lineup. I'm not a huge fan of start going out and making acquisitions, although now I might have to because Curtis Samuel's on the IR. But I do think I do think personally, some defenses. I have Ravens defense. I like the matchup against the Raiders. I like the matchup against the Raiders there, so I have Ravens defense. But you look at some of these. You look at some of the available defenses. You could go Vikings against Cincinnati. I like that matchup there a little bit. You could go either Jets or Panthers. I think that's gonna be a low-scoring game, so you could either go there. Jets are technically looks like ranked a little bit higher, about projected the same though. But Vikings defense in my one league's the best. I'm going Ravens though because it's against the Raiders, not a scary offense by any means. So I'm going with Vikings. But I am gonna have to make a move now. So let me go with the injury update in my in my PPR league. So the injury update on Curtis Samuel is Samuel groin was placed on injured reserve Friday. So and Jamison Crowder is out as well. Crowder, who is on the reserve COVID-19 list, won't be available for Sunday's season opener against the Panthers. Rich Cimini of ESPN.com reports. So he's out as well. So I'm actually going to have to make a move. We're going to have to make a move here. So I put Curtis Samuel on my IR, and I'm going to have to pick somebody up. So do I pick up a running back? When I have 2-3 running backs, I should probably pick up a receiver because Crowder is also out. But we're going to go pick up a receiver. I don't even know where to begin, who to pick up. I mean, looks like Tyrell Williams. Williams could eventually serve as a relevant fantasy option. I could always pick him up. I could look at Watkins, actually. Watkins' stock rose probably now with all those injuries because they're going to rely a little bit more on the pass now. But that doesn't mean that he's going to go off, but his stock probably rose a little bit. I will probably either pick up Tyrell Williams or Randall Cobb. I might pick up, I guess I could probably pick up Watkins too, but I mean, this is just kind of a bench move. This is kind of just a bench move right now. But I mean, if you're in a situation like I am with Curtis Samuel, I would look to pick up somebody like one of the receivers out there, like a Williams. Watkins could be maybe his stock probably rose because all the injuries that happened to the running backs. They might rely a little bit more on the pass over there. And then for my other league that I'm winning 25-0 in, injuries pretty clean. I have no injuries, actually. I got Justin Herbert, Nick Chubb, Antonio Gibson, DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Jefferson, Amari Cooper already played, Robert Tonyan, Allen Robinson, Vikings defense, and Tyler Bass. I'm still deciding whether or not I want Allen Robinson going to be in against the good Rams defense or if I want Chris Carson to be in against a good Indianapolis defense. That's a tough one to pick because there's a good chance that Robinson could be matched up with Jalen Ramsey, but Chris Carson's also going up against one of the best defenses as well. So that one might be a little bit of a decision. If you are deciding to put Chris Carson, I wouldn't disagree. I just think, I am still finicky with that situation in Chicago, which is why I think Allen Robinson's stock's not that high. I think Robinson, when he's out there, he can be really solid, but their quarterback's always a question. Like, Andy Dalton's going to be out there. Do you really trust Andy Dalton against a good Rams defense? Like, not against Dalton, but, it's just not an ideal situation. So, that's that. No injuries on this front right now, though. But, yeah, so those are the available guys. But now I got to make a move. So, I got to make a move to pick somebody up because it is now. I was actually thinking about drafting Gabriel Davis. Because he's actually not a bad asset. He's actually had a couple good weeks last season, but the only issue with him is you got Diggs over there, and it's not very helpful for a second type guy. There's a ton of different players. Zach Pascal too. I'm probably depending between Tyrell Williams, Watkins, and Cobb. Williams against San Francisco, that's a pretty good defense. Vegas has got a pretty good defense, and New Orleans has got a pretty good defense. So that's all great. This is just for a bench, though. I mean, this is just for a bench move here. He is 36.7% rostered, and he's plus 7.3. So I'm assuming a lot of people, Curtis Samuel now, are gonna have to add him to their roster because we'll see how everything goes. We'll see. We'll see how everything all plays out in terms of just injuries here. But yeah, so Curtis Samuel on the IR, definitely pretty surprising to say the least. It seemed like he was going pretty good, and then out of the blue, he just goes down. So we'll see how all that goes. But that's fantasy football. And then as for fantasy baseball, I'm currently winning 203 to 84. Today I've got going Will Smith, Matt Olson, Gene Segura, Alex Bregman, Marcus Simeon, Carlos Correa, Jake Cronenworth, Christian Yelich, Whit Merrifield, Dylan Carlson, Will Margot, Josh Harrison, and Austin Riley. We got as well Joe Musgrove on the mound. I made a claim, so this will come through tomorrow. The claim will be finalized. I don't know if I'm going to get him, but I want to add Michael Brantley and drop Akil Baddoo. Someone dropped Michael Brantley in my league. I don't know why they did. They picked up Ian Happ, but they dropped Michael Brantley, and I want him, so I'm making that claim. So we'll see how that goes, and if I do get him. And we'll get to the New York Sports Update and finish off the podcast for the week. Alrighty, as for yesterday, the Braves won, Rockies won, Royals won, Indians won, A's won, and Cardinals won. Marlins beat the Mets yesterday 3-2. So Mets moved to 70-71 on the season. And the Yankees lost yesterday 6-4. And Yankees moved to 78-62 on the season. Alrighty, Giants, Cubs are on now. Giants are winning right now. I would assume they probably close out that game. Pirates, Nationals, I'll give Pirates the win. Blue Jays, Orioles, I'll give Blue Jays the win. Rockies, Phillies, I'll give Rockies the win, or Phillies the win rather. Brewers, Indians, give Brewers the win. Rays, Tigers, give Rays the win. Braves, Marlins, give Braves the win. Cheaters, Angels, give Cheaters the win. White Sox, Red Sox, give White Sox the win. Twins, Royals, give Twins the win. Reds, Cardinals, give Reds the win. A's, Rangers, give A's the win. Mariners, Diamondbacks, give Mariners the win. And Dodgers, Padres, give Dodgers the win. Yankees and Mets also play today. Yankees come in this game 78-62. Mets come into this game 70-71. This game was on today, 7:10 p.m. Eastern Time on MLB Network. This is the Subway Series action here. Yankees got Jordan Montgomery on the mound. He's 5-5 with a 3.47 ERA. And the Mets got Tyler McGill on the mound. He's 2-4 with a 4.20 ERA. The over-under for this game is set at 7.5. And 76% of people think the Yankees win. I actually think the Yankees are going to win just because the Mets are just that bad this season. I actually think the Yankees are going to win. So I think the Jets and the Yankees are going to pick up wins this weekend. That's what I think. But we'll see. Either way, that will do it for the podcast today. Big weekend ahead of us. A lot of college football. Forgot about that. College football tomorrow. Miami, Appalachian State. Miami, I think we'll probably win that. These are the top 25 matchups. Coastal Carolina, Kansas, Coastal Carolina, Auburn, Alabama State. I'll give Alabama, or Auburn, rather. Ohio State, Oregon. I'm actually going to give Oregon the win. Give me Oregon. Florida, South Florida, give Florida the win. Virginia Tech, MTSU, give me Virginia Tech. Notre Dame, Toledo, I'll give Notre Dame the win. Penn State, Ball State, Penn State the win. Cincinnati, Murray State, Cincinnati. Georgia, UAB, Georgia, Alabama, Mercer. This one's tough. Alabama. So Alabama versus Mercer. Alabama comes into this game 53.5-point favorites. Just wild. Iowa State, Iowa. I'll give Iowa State the win. Actually, Iowa. I think Iowa's going to win that game. Wisconsin, Eastern Michigan. Give Wisconsin the win. Texas, Arkansas, Texas. Oklahoma, Western Carolina. I'll give Oklahoma the win. Mississippi, Austin, PA. Give Mississippi the win. North Carolina, Georgia State. Give North Carolina the win. Utah, BYU, give Utah the win. USC, Stanford, USC the win. And Arizona State, UNLV, I'll give Arizona State the win. Miami, Appalachian State as well. Miami's 9-point favorites. I think Miami's going to win this game. This game's on tomorrow, 7 Eastern on ESPNU. So Clemson also, I think they'll win. And Texas A&M, I think they'll win. And Miami, I think will win as well. Alabama against Mercer is just going to be just dominant. Mercer's going to get crushed. So, that will be that's going to be a blowout by far. But, yeah, that'll do it for the podcast. Big weekend ahead of us in sports. Yankees, Mets tonight. Yankees, Mets throughout the weekend. 3-game set tonight through Sunday. So, that should be good. Tomorrow, college football. And then Sunday is the first full Sunday of the NFL. So, go Jets. Hopefully we can win. I am optimistic. I do think we will win. Yeah. Wilson Saleh era begins on Sunday. Super excited. Should be really good. Everybody enjoy your weekend. As you all know, I take breaks on the weekends. So everybody enjoy your weekend. Enjoy all the sports that are on. Baseball, college football, and the NFL, all that great stuff. Enjoy it. I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.